All right, we are finally going to make our server a server. So far, we've been learning the basics of Linux and some security related tasks, but our server is still not doing any serving. So we're going to install Apache, which is web server software. You need to log into your system. And once you get logged in, we'll do some stuff to install Apache. So first thing I'm going to do is become root. Every time I remake these videos, I think, oh, I'm not gonna just do everything as root. I'm gonna do sudo the proper way, but that's kind of annoying. So I'm root now. You should become root. Uh, we want to install Apache, and the package for Apache is called httpd. So yes, we want to install. You're like, hey, Rich, what if I didn't know the package is called httpd? Well, um, hopefully you found a user guide or something that would have helped you along the way. But you can also use the search functionality with DNF, and hopefully, that'll narrow it down so you can read through these and be like, oh, that's what I want. I want the Apache HTTP server. So yeah, so it's installed now. When you install it, it does not start it, so we need to start it. System control start HTTPD. We can verify the status with status, right? So it says it's active, it's running. So that's good. So theoretically, um, we should be able to connect to our server. So if you go in your browser and type in the IP address of your system, mine's 198, you need to put whatever yours is and try to connect. You should be able to connect because we started it. But if you remember module 7, we modified the firewall. So we need to go see what's up. And I can tell you the firewall is not letting it through, right? If you remember with the firewall settings, get active zones, we have the public zone and the internal zone. The internal zone is for stuff we trust. The public zone is for everything else. And the way our zone-based firewall works is it's going to try all the zones the way we have it set up. So if we look at the public zone, we're not allowing anything. Services, we're not allowing anything. So we want to add a service, add service equal HTTP. We look at the end, now we have HTTP. So theoretically, hopefully, we go try to connect to the page again, it should work. Sorry for that awkward pause, but the behavior of firewall D has changed since CentOS 7, which is what we used to use for this class. We're now using Alma 9. So in CentOS 7, when I added the firewall to the public zone, the way it was working was the traffic from these sources would hit the internal zone, and then after it hit that zone, it would continue to the public zone. So if I add things to the public zone, it would also apply to the internal zone. But for this newer version, I found this forum post that says basically they changed the behavior of firewall D between version .6 to version .7. So what I had to do to make it work was also add HTTP to the internal zone. So if we look at my config now, my internal zone has HTTP and SSH. and my public zone has HTTP. So the command I used to add that to the internal zone was this command, which is the same command I used earlier to add it to the public zone. So that's what we need to do with the most recent version to make it work. After I did that, then I was able to load the page if I can find a page. There we go. So there, now the page works. So you should do that. The page worked, but it brought up this default page. If we read the words here, it says, hey, if you want to add some content, you need to add that to var www html. So we're going to cd into var www html, and we need to add some content. By default, web servers will show the page index.html if you do not specify what file you want to open. So I'm just going to quickly put some text in there. Quickly put some text in there and then go refresh the page. And now it opened my page. So we got the software installed. We have it working. A couple more things we're going to do this module. One, we need to save the firewall config. You should remember that the way we made those changes, we did not save the config to permanent. So we need to do that. So when the firewall restarts, uh, we have those changes saved. That's not what I wanted. Permanent. Yeah, so we have HTTP on there. We can look at internal just for fun. HTTP. And we also need to set Apache to be enabled. So this command tells if it's enabled. Enabled means it's going to come up at boot time. If we look at status also, we can see it there. So status says it's active and running, but it's disabled, which means it's not going to start at boot. So we want to change that. And the way we do that, system control, enable. And now if we look, it's enabled. So now our server is set as a web server. It's going to start at boot. We have a file in index.html, but that file we have is kind of lame. So we want to create an actual HTML file. And the way we're going to do that, this module, if you actually know HTML, feel free to go ahead and write your own HTML file. But we're going to use this online HTML. I'm going to use this online HTML editor to create my custom page, Rich's page. I'm just going to change some of this stuff so that it's a custom page. This is Rich's custom page. Linux is fun. I love Linux. Long live Linux. Long live Linux. So yeah. So you can do something like that. Make your page say whatever you want. If you click that button, you get the source. You can, oh, I spelled custom wrong. Rich's custom page. All right, so click this button to get the source. You can copy this. And now if we go back into the index file, we can paste that in. And now if I go reload my page, now I got my page. So there we go. That's pretty much what we needed to do related to the Apache web server. This module, install it, start it, put a custom page in the var www index, var www html index. God, what am I trying to say? Put a custom page in var www html called index.html, and we need to modify the firewall to let the traffic through, and save that modified firewall to the permanent config.